I am no longer a fan of Adam Duff, aka Lucid Pixel, and I'm making this video to explain why. It's a video I had been contemplating for several months, as I wasn't sure how it would be received, whether it was worth the effort, or if I was even in the right on the matter. Evidently, I took too long to make a decision, as Adam has since either deleted or privated the videos I would need to reference, meaning I wouldn't even be able to make this video without it seeming like I was just making everything up. But then I realized that there's still clips of one of the videos in question in Morgan's ranking/retrospective video, meaning there's just enough surviving evidence to comment on. And you may be wondering, who the hell is Morgan? Well, I'll get to that soon enough, don't you worry. Now, I should start with a bit of a disclaimer by saying that the point of this video is not to claim that Adam is a bad person, because I don't know nearly enough about him to make a judgment like that, nor do I necessarily view him that way. I was actually a longtime viewer of Adam's videos. I started frequenting his channel shortly after high school, which would have been like 9, maybe even 10 years ago. I've been around since the Art Talks with Duffman days. I didn't have an account at the time, so I wouldn't have left any comments, but I would watch his videos fairly regularly. I even remember a specific video in which Adam talks about overcoming his chronic back pain, which resonated with me as I also grapple with some physical issues. So no, I'm not just a hater looking to throw a bigger channel under the bus for views. Secondly, this is not meant to be a drama video. My channel is not about drama, it's about drawing, design, and storytelling. To me, the only things worse than a drama YouTuber are political grifters and Bitcoin channels. All I'm aiming to do is present information as accurately as possible, at which point people can come to their own conclusions. With that, I have a lot of explaining to do, as this is a story that involves 3 people. Adam Duff, obviously, Kelsey Rodriguez, and Morgan of Morg Design. Also, Morgan identifies as non-binary, so I will be using they/them pronouns when referring to them, though it's not something I'm very used to, so if I happen to slip up at any point, you'll just have to ignore it. Side note, the drawings you'll be seeing throughout are my copies/studies of artwork from Janos Garage Art. Sorry if I butchered that name, I don't know any German. I discovered his channel just recently, and was very impressed with his foreshortened poses and daily drawing habit, so I recommend taking a look for yourself. I might as well tell this story in the order that I experienced it in. A little over a year ago, I came across this video from Lucid Pixel. The survival of our art community depends on you hearing this. Intrigued, I give it a watch, and Adam is quick to set the scene for us. Morgan is the creator behind a small channel called Morg Design. They're clearly struggling to get views, but they also haven't made very many videos yet, and should be more patient with the process. They also seem to be very judgmental about people who make money from YouTube. For context, he made this video largely in response to Morgan's follow-up video rather than the actual video in question, which will be important to keep in mind for later. He then moves on to talk about what should be the main topic of the video, which is Morgan's first viral video. YouTube has a pyramid scheme problem. Adam explains how, in their video, Morgan uses Kelsey Rodriguez as an example of a scam artist, in heavy quotations because it's not actually the term that they use, and goes on to mimic Kelsey in a rather mocking way in which they repeatedly adjust their fake pair of glasses as a brief visual gag. In so many words, Adam labels Morgan as a small creator who's desperate for attention and is willing to step on whoever they need to in order to get it.
So what you did is you took her, you threw her on the ground and stepped on top of her back and tried to use her reputation to build up your channel. Is that the kind of future you want?
Admittedly, I had fully sided with Adam after watching his video. What a nasty person this Morg Design must be. In fact, I'm going to look up Morgan's original video just so I can leave my own snarky comment. So that's what I did. But as I started actually watching Morgan's video, I found myself agreeing with a lot of what they were saying. They talk about YouTubers making empty promises with overinflated numbers, some of whom appear to make a living by selling courses on content creation despite not having much credibility, because all they really know how to do is put out vague and often redundant videos that exist solely to appease the algorithm. They also talk about influencers who fabricate a problem before selling you the solution, and lastly, sales pitches that make use of strange wording and strike-through pricing, which is a common tactic used by businesses during Black Friday sales. Morgan wraps things up by pointing out that it may be harmful that these larger creators are potentially marketing their courses to some of their younger and therefore more impressionable viewers who have more than likely developed a parasocial relationship with them, and that if they do happen to purchase a course, the advice may not be very relevant to their situation. This is of course a very brief summary, so I would strongly recommend watching Morgan's video, which I'll be linking in the description. Morgan talks about 4 different YouTubers/creators throughout their video, but I'll be focusing on their first example of Kelsey Rodriguez, because her being included in this video is apparently what made Adam feel the need to insert himself into the discussion because Kelsey is a friend of his. One of the ways in which Morgan critiques Kelsey is that she often advertises herself as though she has good advice on making money from selling artwork, when in reality the majority of her income is from sponsors, affiliate links, and coaching programs. And if you browse her online store, you can see that it is pretty bare. There's a few prints, a blanket, and some items that don't involve art at all, like her Notion templates. And if I were to be completely honest about her oil paintings, I consider them to be at an intermediate level, but not a professional one. The fundamentals are there, but she hasn't developed a distinct style yet, as nothing about the paintings really jumps out at me. The reason I bring this up, and the reason Morgan brings this up in their video, isn't to mock the quality of Kelsey's work or suggest that she isn't an artist, but to point out that she clearly devotes much more time to putting together YouTube videos than she does producing or selling paintings. Which is why I do think it's misleading that Kelsey makes it seem as though she knows how to run an art business. She even went back and changed the titles to some of her videos, by the way, which shows that she understood what Morgan was getting at, but didn't want to admit it. And this is a point that really resonates with me, because something I see far too often are young, beginner artists immediately jumping into doing videos and live streams and reels when they don't really have anything worth showing yet. Even if they do manage to find a niche on social media and start monetizing it, their art skills will remain at an amateur level, which leaves them reliant on these platforms. And that's assuming these people get lucky early on. I'm gonna be real with you for a moment. YouTube is a huge time commitment, especially at the start. It took me about a year and a half and 30 videos to reach 1,000 subs. And a third of those subscribers are from me managing to get my own viral video, which isn't any better than my other videos in terms of quality. I don't even like it all that much compared to my other video essays. I just happened to pick the right topic at the right time. And over a year later, I'm still sitting under 3K. You have to be prepared to spend several hours putting together a video only for it to get next to no views, and then repeat that process all over again. So for most people, it is going to be a matter of choosing one over the other. You either develop your art or develop your social media. Learning how to draw or paint well requires a lot of focus, and I do think all this multitasking with social media can damage one's artistic growth rather than help it, especially when it has no guaranteed payoff. To use myself as an example, I spent the first half of my 20s essentially developing my drawing skills before making my first real YouTube video 3 years ago. I was on social media during that time, of course, but I never grew very much, mostly because I wasn't willing to post the same subject matter over and over and over again. This means I'm entering the ring a bit late. Most YouTubers seem to start when they're around 20, or their late teens. Some of them even start when they're still in high school, which is insane to me, but that's a whole other topic. And I do find it troublesome to think that some of Kelsey's younger viewers may end up purchasing her business advice out of an expectation that it'll help them learn how to become a full-time artist, when that's not what Kelsey is. This isn't really a shameless plug because I haven't even started doing it yet, but something I'd like to do in the future is offer one-time video critiques at around $50 a pop. You send me a sheet of your drawings, and in return, you get something like 20 minutes of focused learning, which I find to be a lot less daunting than starting a Patreon, and I think would actually be better for the buyer too, since the price is more accessible as a one-time thing, and it would be focused on a specific goal set by the client. I can't provide much advice on things like networking, but I can help you develop better quality artwork that's more likely to stand out. Without naming any names, I've come across a couple of semi-popular art channels that have popped up just in the past year offering courses on drawing, despite these creators not being all that great at it themselves, and I would be curious to see how much they're charging. Anyways, I'm not against online courses or mentorships by any means. I've taken a few of them myself, but it is important to consider the credibility of the people you're buying from and whether it's information you can't already find for free elsewhere. Now for the more controversial part. Morgan also argues that Kelsey's channel bears similarities to a pyramid scheme, which is a term that I would be hesitant to use, but I'll try and explain their comparison here as I've come to understand it. Kelsey offers advice specifically on how to grow a business on YouTube. This creates other business YouTubers who go on to sell their own mentorships, which creates even more business YouTubers, all of which rely on an ever-expanding number of new viewers for their model to stay profitable, which will eventually be impossible to sustain. Kelsey is the top beneficiary in this case because her channel was one of the first to make it big, offering business advice targeted at artists specifically, which is its own niche in a way. The safer term would probably be multi-level marketing because MLMs are at least legal, whereas pyramid schemes are entirely fraudulent. Kelsey does still offer an actual product and doesn't technically have a downline, although YouTube has a multi-level marketing problem isn't nearly as catchy, so I get it. The only other critique I would make about Morgan's video is that they frame it as though Kelsey is intentionally taking advantage of new viewers, whereas I think it's accidental on Kelsey's part. A lot of these sorts of YouTubers start out with good intentions before pivoting to something that proves more lucrative, and suddenly everything turns into revenue streams and viewer retention, and subscribers start to look less like individual people and more like numbers on a spreadsheet. I don't blame Kelsey for wanting to be financially stable, but I do think she has a responsibility to maybe examine her methods more closely. I also don't think the glasses bit was fully necessary, but what bothers me more is that Adam attempts to use this 10-second clip to invalidate everything else that Morgan says over the course of their 38-minute-long video. He also makes it seem as though Morgan's entire video revolved around Kelsey, when her section only takes up about a quarter of the runtime. They also talk about 3 other people, but I guess the reputations of those YouTubers don't matter because Adam isn't buddy-buddy with them. The other thing that started to bother me are all the comments under these response videos saying that Morgan is just a delusional kid who doesn't understand the realities of making a living, when they are in fact a graphic designer who gets clients and who has 40,000 followers on Instagram. So it's safe to assume they know something about running an online business. They clearly aren't trying to turn YouTube into a career either, seeing as their last upload was 7 months ago.
The pyramid scheme video was not because I posted my art on YouTube and didn't get the reception I wanted. It was because I've always been the type of person to speak up for what I believe in and make the projects I've been called to make. No one in my life was surprised about that video. They thought it was interesting and funny.
Which brings us to the third and final part of this online exchange, Adam Duff's follow-up video. Technically he did make a third one in between these two, but I never saw that one myself, so I'm ignoring it. This is the video that I have no evidence of because, as said, it doesn't seem to exist anymore, so you'll just have to take my word for it. But I remember it quite well because it's the one I actually chose to leave a comment under expressing my frustration. The only reason I even realized the video was gone is because I noticed my comment had disappeared from my notifications. I recall the title being along the lines of calling out the bad, then in brackets, and good actors in our art community. Adam starts off the video by recounting an experience he had while in high school. A rumor had started to spread about a female classmate of his that was entirely false, but that some people chose to believe anyways. I can't remember what that rumor was exactly, but the point is that this resulted in another student beating the absolute shit out of her while she was walking home. Black eyes, bloody nose, whole 9 yards. This is when Adam saw her walking alone, crying, and immediately came to her aid, etc., etc. He then goes on to compare that story of a teenage girl being brutally assaulted over something she objectively did not do to Morgan making videos about Kelsey. Do I need to explain why that is absolutely insane? Kelsey is not a defenseless victim. She's a fully grown adult who's capable of speaking for herself, for one, and she has well over 200,000 subscribers, many of whom I'm sure would be happy to rush to her defense, as we've already seen. It was a dumb comparison, and the fact he chose to start his video with a graphic story like that felt very emotionally manipulative to me. To make matters even worse, prior to that he also makes the same comparison to people getting mad at Ross Draws, who not only used AI in the creation of some of his art pieces without disclosing it to his buyers, but has also fed the works of multiple artists into Midjourney without their permission, which is, in my opinion, indefensible. There's convincing evidence for it that's come out, you can look it up yourself. None of that is relevant to the topic at hand, but it did not make Adam's video any more enjoyable. Then, as the cherry on top, Adam finishes off his video explaining that he watched Morgan's tier ranking video, found it insulting, and calls them a, and I quote, scummy SJW, which I found to be a very immature response to be coming from a middle-aged man. Did you feel insulted in a video, Adam? I'm sure that was rather difficult for you, but you should know that Morgan has had over 20 videos made about them, half of which, by the way, consist of people who clearly base their opinions off of your video without ever bothering to watch theirs, like I almost did. So who's really being the harmful one in this situation, Adam? The answer may surprise you.
He thought my video was terrible, controversial, and a hot-button topic. His reflex was to destroy, defame, and exile. That was not the response that I got from the online community. I got a lot of supportive comments on that video, and I would say a generally overall positive response. The negativity only started after Adam made his first video.
I mean, for f***'s sake, it's called criticism, Adam. Welcome to the internet. I've had viewers get mad at me over anime. When you're a public figure with hundreds of thousands of subs, people are going to talk shit about you. And if what they're saying really bothers you to the point that you can't just ignore it, then you can come out with your own video explaining point by point why everything they said is wrong. But that never happened, did it? I never saw a single debunking video from either you or Kelsey, which means there must be at least some amount of truth to the things Morgan has said.
My video was not defamation. If it were, he would have been able to make a response to it, and he would have been able to explain why I was wrong. He tried to respond to that video 3 different times, and couldn't, and I think that that says a lot. Defamation is so easily proven with evidence, but instead, he reacted to a different video and is now lying about me defaming her, and he's doing the things that he's accusing me of.
Prior to this whole thing, Adam had been doing a fair amount of fence-sitting on the topic of AI, which I can't say I was a big fan of, but that alone wasn't enough to make me unsub. I grew to dislike his deceptive video on Morgan, and still I remain subscribed. But this follow-up video of his was the final nail in the coffin. His first response may have been extremely dishonest, but the second one was downright hateful and manipulative, and I no longer have any desire to support his channel. And to Adam, if you happen to see and watch this video to the end, I did not do all this writing and editing for clout or because I want to ruin your reputation. I did it because it involves a subject that I believe is worth talking about. I also wouldn't have made this had you just stayed out of the situation or tried to engage with the points being made instead of immediately digging your heels in on Kelsey's behalf. I don't care whether this video gets 100 views or 100,000. I don't care whether people watch my video and continue watching yours. All I want to do is generate a discussion around online business practices and the state of modern YouTube. I sincerely hope you start to reflect more on your actions and become more transparent, but the fact you don't seem to want to acknowledge your deleted videos makes me doubtful. Anyways, that was a lot of words. This video was pretty heavy, so I think I'll follow it up with a lighthearted one on character design or something.